There's the articulation at the elbow. Buttons, there is screw in the elbow, so I'm gonna do that. Quickly, I just want to give a video that's more like retro. He's on a fresh doll body. So let's start talking. Thanks for playing dolls. Welcome to part 3 of buying dolls for clothes. Don't forget to like and hype me up. In this video, I have purchased several Mattel dolls. Hopefully, they don't disappoint. On the left is Henry Higgins, and on the right is Frank Sinatra from the I Love Frank Sinatra set. Somebody was selling him for a decent price, and I marked him as a favorite. As I was watching him, they offered me a lower price. So I snatched him up because, I've been looking at him. And I was looking at that set because I was like, oh, you know what? I like her jacket. I like her college jacket. It's yellow with blue, and she has a nice pleated skirt. And I believe she's wearing saddlebags, which are very cute. So I was thinking about getting the set, but I wasn't that invested. I was more invested in getting the guy for his clothes, specifically for his unique jacket, the checkered print jacket. I'm hoping that they're not all sewn together and they're all individual pieces. I've kind of glanced at Henry Higgins, and his outfit seems like it might be slightly disappointing. Kind of like the previous ones from part 2, where they were all one piece. In this video, I plan on separating many of the onesies and making them into individual clothing articles. Henry also comes with a very nice fedora-like hat, which is a bonus, along with socks. All right, let's start with the one who potentially might be the least amount of work and is my favorite suit clothing-wise. And also, I like his face. You know what's funny about Frank Sinatra? When I saw the doll, I mostly wanted him for his clothes, not shocking, but his sculpt was giving off one of those dummies, where the mouth moves. He kind of has that look. Plus, he has an open mouth grin, which wasn't helping. In person, he's actually pretty good looking. He's not that bad looking. He does have molded hair, though, which most of these dolls that I've collected for their clothing do have. He is mostly articulated. He bends at the knee. He does not have ankle articulation. He can splay his legs out pretty wide. He can bend his elbows. He has full rotation at the shoulder and can move his head left and right. Let's focus on Frank Sinatra's outfit. Look at that. Is that cufflinks? Wow, I think that's supposed to be cufflinks. That's impressive. He has a little pocket. What do they call it? A pocket tissue or handkerchief. It's tacked here and here on his pants. And again, there are no buttons. There is a functional pocket on both sides, which is really nice. And look at that. It's a full shirt on Frankie here. And you can see the snaps in the back for his V-neck sweater vest. The inside of the jacket is fully lined. I am so happy about this jacket. You have no idea. I've been eyeballing this jacket forever. All right, and this vest is a bonus. I love these little sweater vests, and it just snaps right off. Underneath the sweater vest is a full sleeve shirt, which I mentioned has these little cufflinks. I think his little bow tie is such a unique feature. I like it even if I know that it's not really in style anymore, except for weddings or a prom. There is a snap here at the neck, and his pants also have a snap. And let's check out his shoes. Oh, they're pretty decent shoes for a doll. And his pants are completely separate. You can see he also has dress socks on. They're really You know, all their nice dress socks, they're just normal. Here's his body. It's kind of like the My Scene Ken body, where they have this little screw in the elbow. Look at that. He has a ring on his pinky finger. Oh, and he has a twist at the waist. He still kind of has the body of a puppet, too. And you can also see the kind of neck he has. Based on this, it looks like he has like the plunger neck, though his neck is kind of smaller than usual and oddly crooked. So I'm going to have to do the technique where I cut the plunger off and then do little side splits so that it's concave. But I'm not even sure if that's going to work because the way his neck is weird. Do you see that? It's not really straight, and it's smaller than most dolls, and that might pose problems with the way his neck is shaped. I might have to cut him all the way around here at the neck, and then flip the plunger upside down, the way I was talking about earlier in part 2, I believe, in order to get his head to fit. And then just use his head on a made-to-move body. All right. The next doll is Henry Higgins with his awesome hat. Do you like this? It's a little bit hard, but it's covered with a nice flocking or like a velour, which is great. The jacket is separate, which is very nice because it means I can mix and match. If you know what it is with guys, all they have to have is a few jackets and a few different pants, and then they can mix and match to get different looks, for example, or vice versa. And this is why I want a bunch of different jackets and different pants. The problem is when they do these one pieces, these little onesies, where it's like a shirt, vest, and pants, it makes it really difficult to do a good mix and match. So I'm going to do the same thing or a similar thing as I did for these blue pants. I'm going to separate the pants from the shirt because I do want this shirt and vest, but I want the pants to be separate. So I'm going to do that and come back, and then we're going to close out with all the new dolls dressed up. But before I do that, I'm going to show you that when I'm done with these onesies, I actually seam rep them apart. And then I add a waistband with a snap to the back of the pants. Here's an example. It was actually one piece at one point, and now it's two. I don't have this particular cotton material to extend the shirts, so the shirts are going to be a little bit on the short side. But usually when the pants come up to meet them, it'll work out fine. This sits right over the top for a standard Ken, so it doesn't matter. If it did show a little, it would just look like it's the bottom of his shirt, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. But it allows me to use these pants and mix and match to extend my clothing set. The other thing with adding this band is that it should be able to fit a taller doll, like an integrity doll, and still have room at the bottom. I'm going to be testing that in a while. The other thing about clothes from the older Mattel dolls and the World doll bodies is that they're made for those wide rubber legs. And because they're made for those wider rubber legs, they're able to fit on broader dolls, such as the muscular body Kens. The other pants that I got previously in another video, the ones that were like retro Ken pants, they are more narrow. This particular Ken, I believe he's on a fresh doll body, and I was able to zip them up, but I was not able to snap them in the center. But I was able to hide that using the belt from the Zizzle dolls. So I'm just going to keep dressing them and mixing and matching them. And I'm going to talk about which pieces are on which dolls. So I went ahead and shuffled all the different clothes amongst them, And I'm going to talk about what I've done for fun. I'm still not ready to remove Rhett's head off of his existing body. I just like the stature of the Mattel Rhett Butler Clark Gable doll. And so I've kept him in his 90s style body. And he might end up staying in it. It's not like I hate the Mycene body. It's just that it doesn't have that wrist articulation to do like a hand wave or anything like that. Otherwise, I think he would be all right. Clark Gable was a handsome man. There's no denying it. Not that I know if there's somebody out there denying it, but that's my opinion. I kept him in his white pants and his boots. I just put on this blue jacket. I was even too lazy to remove his shirt, but I took the World Doll Mounties jacket and I just opened up the collar so it would look a little bit more like a modern sports jacket. And I redid the tie into more of a chef's knot for this particular outfit on him. You might still say, oh, it's classic, but it still looks older. But I'm telling you, on these dolls, he actually looks really good. I don't even want to say that he looks like he's from the past. There's something about him that's very timeless. He doesn't look like he's stuck in any particular era. He could be in the future. Like, if I said this suit was a reminiscent look for 2580 into the future, and he was the doctor of some sort of science technology onboard Space Fleet 1278, you would believe it. There's just something very timeless about him. The next two dolls, to me, are kind of stuck in time. There's something about their faces, their sculpts, that seem to just be stuck in the era that they were made. Because I know if I put these same outfits on a more modern Ken, the outfits would also be brought up to date. This suit is not something that's specific to some sort of time period. I think the outfit itself is timeless, and if it was on a more modern doll, it would look modern. But because it's on this particular Henry Higgins sculpt of the old school Ken sculpts, it just looks like it's from that time period. And you might not notice, but he's actually sitting on a made-to-move body. He's on the Latin skin tone one that is basically the closest match because his body is a strange red color. On camera, it doesn't look so weird, but in person, he's very pinky. It's sort of a strange color. When I was looking at him on eBay, I thought his sculpt looked pretty good, but in person, I'm not super fond of it. And the odd part about that is, to me, when I was searching on eBay, Frank Sinatra looked like a ventriloquist doll in his pictures. And maybe that's because some of the original ventriloquist dolls were designed after his face. So I was actually really worried about getting him because I wasn't sure I even wanted to put his head on a stick. Because I was afraid that that ventriloquist doll look was going to be freaky to me personally. But in person, the doll is actually kind of handsome. He's not bad. I did cut his head so I could just plop him on top of a made-to-move body. I didn't do any special trims. I just cut it because his neck was wonky, as I showed you earlier. As far as Frank Sinatra goes, he still looks like he's in the 1950s with this outfit. Though I'm sure if I put it on a more modern doll, I think the outfit would read, whatever time period the face of the doll looks like. Even if I take off his hat, that might make him a little bit more youthful looking and bring him more current, up to date. For example, when I say it depends on the doll, here's a fresh doll wearing Frank Sinatra's outfit. He's wearing his bow tie, his blazer, the shirt, but he's got it paired with jeans and red tennis shoes, and he looks like a modern guy, so that's not the problem. Here are the pants to the Mountie jacket. They fit really nicely on the muscular doll. Oh, and the fresh doll is a very broad-chested doll. You can see that both of these dolls are very big-barreled in the chest, and they have pretty thick legs. So I used the retro Ken red vest on him, and that fit. This is the World Doll Rhett Butler shirt that I separated from the pants. You can see his belly a little through there. The shirt is short, when I trimmed it. But, yeah, with a vest or if the pants come up a little higher, it won't be a problem. You can see that the pants fit him quite nicely and he looks really good. The one thing about this vest is I like the tartan in the back. For these pants where I cut the shirt, I just flipped it to create the waistband and then I added a snap in the back. So I did not keep the top half of his little jumper pants. Here's Rhett Butler's hat on Barbie Basics 15. He also has the Latino wheelchair Ken's body. He's just wearing regular jeans. The jeans that Ken came with. And he's wearing the Rhett Butler vest from Mattel's Rhett Butler. Next is Texas Anthony Matthews. Texas A&M. Get it? And I'm hoping that helps me remember his name. And that's why I made it an acronym to help me remember. So, fun little story about him. I got him for less than $100 because they thought that he was Barbie Basics number 17, and that's how I bought him. But his body is articulated, and there is no other Ken with this articulated body and that articulated face other than the very overpriced Texas A&M. So I got lucky because I don't believe the seller knew which Ken they were selling. In any case, he is wearing the Zizzle cotton shirt that I did need to hand wash, the Henry Higgins blazer, Zizzle gray vest and scarf, retro Ken pants, where I need to seal the hem before it frays anymore, and Henry Higgins shoes. That's the mix and matching that I want to do with these dolls, and you can see how that looks. Since I've adjusted the waistline and separated the pieces, let me do one for integrity. I forgot what the name of him is. I think it's Kioren Morel. If you're better at recognizing sculpts, let me know in the comments below if I'm totally off. I feel like he's looking very Miami Vice, but you can see where the pants come down to on his legs. They're slightly high water, but it's not too bad. This is actually an integrity shirt that he's wearing underneath it, and it's also the World Doll pants and the World Doll Rhett Butler jacket just paired together. But now, because of the way I extended it, it sits quite well, even on an integrity. In fact, I feel like the length is actually, of the jacket, is much better on integrity than it was on those little World Doll bodies. Finally, here's Kid Super. He's wearing Henry Higgins pants, Frank Sinatra's blue sweater vest, and the Mattel Rhett Butler's white coat. I like how this looks together. Because of how baggy the jacket is on Kid Super, it's kind of giving me doctor vibes, like kind of like a doctor coat, even though I was not going for him being a doctor. So it might be that it's just a little bit too big and too long on him. I believe if it was shorter, like right around here, it wouldn't give off that same vibe. But because of the cut, which I do think is a wonderful cut, but I recognize now that that's kind of the cut that some of doctors' coats have now, and that's why it's giving me that vibe. But hey, the jacket can be mixed and matched and reused for other looks. I do want to also mention that the other problem with the jacket, even though it's the right length along the legs, it's really short in the sleeve. Something I could potentially do is I could roll up the sleeves and then it would make it look more like it's meant to be that way. Or I could extend the sleeves with the same ribbon here to make it look like it's part of the look. And I was going to just flip the sleeves, but the material is sort of fraying on the inside of the jacket. But if I just scoot the sleeves up his arm a bit, it looks more like it's intentional, more Miami Vice. So that's what I can do to make this jacket look better on him. Finally, I forgot about this penguin style tux that I had to really fiddle with to get it to sit right. I forgot to show it off, but there it is. And it still looks good. It looks like he's in a Western though. I feel like that long jacket with this vest and that hat kind of took him back in time. And that's all of their outfits for now. Personally, I think I did a great job extending my Ken doll outfit collection. Sorry I keep saying finally, because I think that's the last doll, but no. So much new dolls and clothes came out of this exploration, but this Captain Sao Feng is truly the last one to showcase. Even after heating his head for 15 minutes, it barely softened. I had to cut his head to fit the Mattel bodies while it was still under the dryer. And he looks like a great Chinese villain. He would make an awesome Chinese mafia boss. He's an amazing sculpt, and I'm so glad to get him on a normal body. Here, he's wearing Henry Higgins shirt vest combo and world body pants. This may sound weird, but right after Clark Gable, he's my second favorite sculpt purchase. He brings something unique and fun to my collection. He's a muse of sorts. What do you think? Which doll was your favorite? Are there pieces of a doll that you've seen that you would be willing to buy just for their clothes? Most of these dolls were under $20, definitely under $30, and I'm so glad to have added them all. Is there a piece of clothing that you would have liked to add to your Ken collection? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for playing dolls with me.
Like, share, subscribe.